Yes, good morning everyone. 6th April 2022. Let's see which are the important articles. Okay, so these are the important developments. So, yes, we will have the follow up here. On first page, you can see that the central government in Supreme Court had submitted, let's say, its view and said that let dam committee continue for a year. Okay, so basically the Supreme Court is of the view that the dam safety bill should be implemented, and that will be helpful for all types of dams, okay, and its administration. But the problem related to let's say this particular Mullaperiyar dam between Kerala and Kerala and Tamil Nadu, right? So this is creating huge problem, political issue we can say, and the central government is intervening here and providing some kind of facilitation for coordination, we can say. We will have follow up on this issue because in polity part, interstate relations, it is also let's say part of our syllabus. Fine. So now directly come to page number 6, editorial page. Two important articles, lead article, strengthen secularism, save the republic. Okay, so now this particular article is having the context of the growing intolerance in the country and how it is affecting India's, let's say, the secularism, why it is required to strengthen that secularism so as to protect our country. Okay, so yes, the context here is recently the kind of hijab row that let's say erupted in Karnataka state, and yes, the problem of intolerance is visible not only in that state but also in other parts of the country. We have to look at this issue in a very objective manner. Okay, so as a, let's say, civil service aspirant, one should have a very keen eye on this development, and one should be, thinking from the perspective of the provisions of the constitution. Okay, so this is what we should focus on. We should not focus on the political views, religious views, rather we should be very objective in analysis of such kind of developments. Okay, and we should see it from constitutional morality perspective. Okay, yes. Then on left hand side, on bottom, in the middle, again we'll revise this. We have already discussed one or two articles, good articles on India's role in Ukraine and Russia conflict. Also, we have discussed in detail the economic impact of this conflict on world economy, Indian economy. Okay, so we are having the follow up here on this developments, how it is unfolding from IR section. On the bottom side, CUET mandate warrants cautious implementation. Central University entrance test, UGC had recently given the guidelines on that, and it is going to implement from this year. There was one editorial when this was announced, and we have discussed this in detail. PhD. Yes, not PhD, it is for university level entrance admissions for graduation. One editorial was there we discussed the benefits of having such kind of entrance test, common entrance test. Like at present, each and every university is conducting different tests, so students face it difficulty. They have to give appear for each and every entrance test, then apply for each and every university. So now the UGC has given this particular directive to have a central, let's say, common entrance test for all central universities. Okay, and this can be adopted by all state universities in different states also voluntarily at present. Okay, so the benefits, the limitations, we have discussed it in that lecture. Yes. Now, on text and context page, yesterday we talked about recombinant variant. When WHO had said that the new recombinant variant has been flagged by WHO. It was found in UK. Okay, so we will not revise this article again. It will be kind of repetition. Just now, yesterday or day before yesterday, we talked about this. The new recombinant variant RX that was found here, and that is almost 10 times let's say faster as compared to the earlier variants. ठीक है, तो ये इसको recombinant variant कैसे होता है, क्यों होता है? Yes, we talked about that. What is recombinant variant of the virus? How it is formed? See, whenever let's say a person is infected by two variants of the same virus at the same time. Okay, so because of that, what happens is that combination leads to the intermixing of genes of that virus or those variants, and new variant is formed. That is called as recombinant variant of that virus. This is what is happening with COVID-19 virus now. Okay, since this virus is spreading throughout the world 2 years ago, many such variants and recombinant variants are found now. Okay, so that's why it is very important. Fine. So you should know about that, the meaning of recombinant variant. Bottom side article is important for us. Again, Indian Antarctic Bill and its various provisions. When this bill was introduced in Lok Sabha, we talked about this context, but in detail provisions we have not discussed up till now. In detail provisions are given here. So whenever you are reading any particular article from newspaper, don't get worried about कि इसका डिटेल ढूंढना है. Actually क्या होता है, स्टूडेंट्स को एक क्यूरियोसिटी होता है. Okay, and because of that curiosity, what happens, student is taking almost half an hour, 1 hour in finding out details of that article. Okay, तो आप जो है कोई भी आप अगर द हिंदू एनालिसिस हमारा हो या कोई भी क्लास का हो, अगर आप पढ़ रहे हैं तो वो फैकल्टी पे ट्रस्ट कीजिए. ओके, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपन्स इज दैट फैकल्टी नोज कि ये फ्यूचर में जरूर कवर होगा. ठीक है, तो कोई भी बिल होता है तो उसका एक्सप्लेन्ड में जरूर इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो वो प्रोविजंस आएगा FAQ पेज ऑन संडे और टेक्स्ट एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट पेज एक्सप्लेनर. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट फाइंडिंग डिटेल्स बाय योरसेल्फ. उसका एनालिसिस भी आएगा, उसके प्रोविजंस भी आएगा न्यूज़पेपर में. सो यू शुड बी ओनली रीडिंग द न्यूज़पेपर, डोंट गो दैट मच इन डिटेल, एक्सेप्ट आई वुड से कि कुछ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी रिलेटेड डेवलपमेंट्स होते हैं, नई टेक्नोलॉजी न्यूज़ में होती है. ओके, सो दैट टेक्नोलॉजी इफ इट इज न्यूज़ इन दैट आर्टिकल, देन क्विकली जस्ट गो इनटू लेट्स से लुक एट द वर्किंग ऑफ दैट टेक्नोलॉजी, हाउ इट वर्क्स ब्रीफली, उतना ही गूगल करना है हमें. ठीक है. So here we'll talk about that Antarctic Bill, its provision from geography as well as science and technology perspective. Yes. Now on page number 10, bottom side, a bill in Lok Sabha to ban weapons of mass destruction funding. Our External Affairs Minister has introduced. Yes, online students, good morning everyone. Okay. So we are understanding the context of today's The Hindu newspaper articles here. On page number 10, on bottom side, bill in Lok Sabha to ban weapons of mass destruction funding. Okay, so this particular bill, it is amendment bill for the earlier bill. Okay, 2005, sorry, earlier act or law. In 2005, there was law enacted regarding this, let's say, ban of, let's say, manufacturing of weapons of mass destruction. Now this is being amended, especially with two objectives. One objective is to ban the financing of manufacturing of such kind of weapons of mass destruction. Up till now, this provision was not there. At the same time, the further one more provision is being added is the assets of that person are going to be confiscated if that person is found to be involved in manufacturing or let's say financing, even not in financing that weapons of mass destruction. Basically, it is in line with international conventions to which India is party. Okay, that's why this is being, let's say, enacted in the country. Okay. Now again, just now I told you कि इसमें ज़्यादा details नहीं होंगे, but there may be let's say FAQ article on Sunday or explainer in detail about this bill provisions. Okay, so don't worry about this. We'll cover that. Okay. Now, on page number 12, you may have, let's say, came across on social media pages or somewhere the video from Maharashtra. Some of the, let's say, people from Chandrapur district of Maharashtra, they posted this video that at, let's say, particular night they have seen the objects, celestial objects, there, let's say, in the sky, and some of those objects have fallen on the ground. ठीक है, उसके फोटो, उसके वीडियोस वायरल हुए हैं. Okay, and that let's say the district administration of Chandrapur had requested the ISRO officials to come and visit there to find out actually what are these objects, whether they are, let's say, part of satellites, defunct satellites of any country, whether they are parts of some, let's say, rockets of other countries, let's say, launching, let's say, for the satellites. होता है ना, रॉकेट्स जब लॉन्च करते हैं उसका एक रिकवरी होता है, ठीक है, वो लैंड पे ही गिरते हैं कभी कभी, तो जनरली वो ओशंस पे गिराने का उनका ये होता है. ओके, सो और वेदर इट इज, लेट्स से, द एस्टेरॉइड्स और कॉमेट्स, एनी सेलेस्टियल बॉडी पार्ट्स, ठीक है, तो उसको एनालिसिस करने के लिए अभी इसरो टीम विजिट करने वाली है वहाँ. सो दैट आर्टिकल इज देयर ऑन पेज नंबर 12. ओके, इसरो टू सेंड टीम टू प्रोब ऑब्जेक्ट्स दैट फेल फ्रॉम द स्काई. ओके, सो पहले ही बहुत ज़्यादा न्यूज़ है ऐसे पूरे ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड की, ठीक है, एलियंस वाला होता है, कुछ अननोन चीज़ें, कुछ नई चीज़ें मतलब देखने को मिल रही है, राइट. एंड इवन साइंटिस्ट आर क्यूरियस अबाउट इट, to find about this. Okay, and let's see whether the news is true or not. That will be again after investigation by ISRO, we will understand that. So yes, from miscellaneous perspective or science perspective, we will have follow up here. If suppose, let's say, some of the, let's say, reports that facilitate track the path of such objects, let's say, suggest that it was re-entry of a Chinese rocket stage, but China has not confirmed it. ठीक है, चाइना ये कंफर्म नहीं किया है. और जनरली यू शुड नो दैट सच काइंड ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स, दे आर बर्न्ड इन द स्काई इटसेल्फ. ओके, और इफ दे आर फॉलिंग ऑन द ग्राउंड, दे लेट्स से द मैन्यूरिंग इज इन अ सच मैनर दैट दे आर फॉलिंग इन द ओशन, नॉट ऑन द ग्राउंड. ठीक है, यस, फाइन. सो यस, लेट अस डिस्कस दीज आर्टिकल्स इन डिटेल नाउ. Strengthen secularism, save the republic. Okay, this article is written with the context of recent Karnataka hijab row that has happened. Karnataka High Court has given the verdict, and this verdict essentially upheld the circular by the Karnataka government that the school going students will not wear any kind of headscarf or, let's say, having some kind of religious practice. Okay, religious symbol we can say. So the Karnataka High Court, against the Karnataka High Court judgment, let's say there is appeal in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is going to listen this appeal here. Okay, now this particular issue in India suggests that there is growing intolerance. There is growing intolerance in the country. Okay, again I am repeating, we should look at the issue in a very objective manner. It is, although we can say that it is politically sensitive matter, okay, but it is politically sensitive, it is also constitutional issue. So that's why we should look at it in a very objective matter. Although UPSC may not ask the question from the politically sensitive matter, UPSC will ask question from constitutional perspective. That's why we have to see that issue from that perspective. Also in GS1 paper, we have explicit syllabus topic, that is secularism, communalism, right? So from that perspective, the values in Indian society, norms in Indian society, we should know about them and how they are being threatened, or whether they are being threatened because of such developments. We should analyze that. Yes. So intolerance, growing intolerance. Why we are saying that? Simply one should know that the majority religious community, that is at present Hindu. Okay, so we know that Hinduism or Hindu religion or promotes or have the value of pluralism, inclusiveness, tolerance. These values are itself promoted by this religion, and because of that only India, even let's say since ancient times, Indian society or India has been, let's say, receptive of all world religions. Those people came in India, settled in India. Even Indian society took some of the norms from these religious practices or religions of the world. Okay, and because of that we call Indian society as a melting pot. Okay, yes. So that's why the writer is saying that it is insidious tolerance, which is quite uncharacteristic. It is uncharacteristic. ठीक है कि ये जो हम बोलते हैं कि हिंदुइज्म जो है दिस रिलीजन के लिए मतलब जो ओरिजिनल रिलीजन है वो वैल्यूज ये सजेस्ट नहीं करता है. इट डज नॉट प्रोफेस सच काइंड ऑफ वैल्यूज. Yes, you should also know the other developments that are happening, जैसे hate speech. Yes, it is also burning issue. We can say that religious, political, constitutional issue. Hate speech. Okay, so there are many religious sansads, different, let's say, congregations are happening in different parts of the country. And yes, of course, that is fine, that is good thing. But if suppose such, let's say, hate speeches are given by religious gurus or, let's say, political leaders in those assemblies, that not only affect the, let's say, societal harmony, but also affects, we can say, the overall प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द कंट्री. ठीक है, हम निगेटिव डायरेक्शन में जाते हैं ऐसी चीजों की वजह से. ठीक है, यस. सो यू शुड नो दीज डेवलपमेंट्स. नाउ हाउ इट इज अफेक्ट, लेट्स से, अगेंस्ट द ट्रेडिशनल एथोस ऑफ टॉलरेंस एंड प्लूरलिज्म. नाउ वी नो दैट इंडिया, let's say, our ancient religions or those, let's say, practices, like for example, if just now we talked about Hinduism, but other religions that originated in India, especially Buddhism and Jainism. So Buddha gave this message of tolerance, inclusiveness, plurality, and the values of equality, fraternity, and we can say liberty. These values were already there in India, professed by Buddha. Okay, we say that these values we took from French Revolution. ठीक है, तो they are inspired from French Revolution. But yes, these values were already there in India, professed by Buddha in this Buddhism. Okay, so these ancient ethos, traditional ethos in India, they are part of, let's say, inalienable part of Indian society, societal norms. Okay, and to some extent such kind of developments threatens those traditional ethos. एक होता है ना कि सोसाइटी की एक आइडेंटिटी होती है, अगर वो आइडेंटिटी को थ्रेटन करते हैं कुछ डेवलपमेंट्स, सो दैट इज नॉट गुड. ओके, सो यस, Indian Constitution provides for freedom of religion and conscience on one hand, and secularism for the governance of the country on the other hand. Now we learn in polity about secularism. Our Indian secularism principle enshrined in our constitution is different from the Western secularism, in a sense that Western secularism completely separates state from the religion, religious affairs. No, let's say, interference of with each other's affairs. But Indian secularism is not like that. There is no watertight separation. Rather, we say that the state will keep the religion at arm's length. Okay, that means, let's say, the proportionate distance will be kept, and the state in general will not interfere in the religious affairs. But yes, it will also try to have equal treatment. Now, this equal treatment concept is misunderstood by some of the, we can say, political leaders or sometimes the government also. Okay, although the second meaning of Indian secularism is that there is no religion of the state. The state has no religion. Okay, so this particular meaning is absolutely correct, we can say. This is what the writer is also saying, that this is not having any other meaning. There is no, let's say, misinterpretation or other interpretation here. But the first statement, or first we can say aspect of Indian secularism, that a Indian government will promote, or let's say treat each and every religion in a same manner. उसका अलग अलग मीनिंग होता है, जैसे कि सर्वधर्म समभाव. But because of this principle, what happens is the political leaders, they have some kind of let's say eagerness to treat a particular religion in a let's say affective manner. ओके होता है ना, इमोशन होता है या फिर एक एफेक्शन होता है, उसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन को ज़्यादा मतलब प्रमोट किया जाता है, या फिर एक टेंडेंसी होती है प्रमोट करने की. एंड वन कैनॉट रिस्ट्रिक्ट दैट. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज गिवन इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ओके, बट इफ द सेकंड प्रिंसिपल, दैट इज स्टेट हैज नो रिलीजन, इफ इट इज स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलोड, देन दीज टेंडेंसीज विल बी एलिमिनेटेड. ठीक है, तो ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट प्रिंसिपल है हमें समझने के लिए. Okay, so yes, we know that Indian Constitution provides for fundamental rights of freedom of religion and conscience. For example, if we are talking about fundamental rights under Article 25 and 26, they talk about this. 25, freedom of conscience, freedom of religion. Okay, then it is individual right. By 26, collective right is there. Okay, but yes, the secularism principle is very much visible from which articles? Or state is not having any religion. Article 27 and Article 28, Article 14 and 15 क्या है ये? Equality before law. What is this? No discrimination. One of the ground is religion. So this is how these articles shows that state is having no religion. And the writer is of the view that our let's say the forefathers, or let's say those members of constituent assembly, they were of the view that more weightage is given to this one as compared to this one. That means the fundamental rights that are enjoyed under these articles, they are subject to not only public health, morality, but also these articles. Means preference will be given to these articles, and also this Article 21, personal liberty. Okay, the priority will be given to this and then to this. So Indian secularism comes second. First comes the, let's say, yes, equality principles, liberty principles. Are you getting this? Okay, so then why a theocratic state will not work in India? Although the tendencies are there in that direction, but it will not work in India. There are some reasons you should know. ये essay में बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. देखिए essay में ऐसे टॉपिक आ सकता है. Theocratic state means state is having a certain religion. ठीक है, जैसे अरब कंट्रीज है या पाकिस्तान है या फिर बाकी कंट्रीज जो बुद्धिस्ट समझो, म्यांमार जो है या श्रीलंका है लार्जली. So they are theocratic state. So what happens if suppose, let's say, why it will not work in India? First thing you should know that there are total 6 minorities recognized by the government, but the major minority, Muslim population if we are talking, so it is comparatively very large population. Theocratic state works wherein the minority population is very less, then only it is, we can say, completely working. But here the major minority among these 6 minorities, Muslim population is huge, okay, comparatively, and that's why the theocratic state will not work. Okay, because this much large population, around 200 million population, so it is not going to work. Okay, because the people belonging to this minority will feel alienated. ठीक है, और there will be always conflict. Yes. Second thing we should know in India about this theocratic state. Okay, so yes. Now, the constitutional provisions. Okay, the constitutional provisions or those makers of the constitution, they tended to protect first fundamental rights of the people. Okay, so that means the power is derived from the people. हम ये NCERT में पढ़ते हैं, right? And that's why let's say the Constituent Assembly members, they focused first on protecting fundamental rights of. When there is theocratic state, that will have some kind of absolutism. It will tend to have absolute powers. And the most important function of the constitution in a democratic country is to limit the powers of the state. We learn this in 11th standard NCERT, right? To limit the powers of the state, because state tends to be absolute state. Thomas Hobbes, है ना? So that's why when the theocratic state is there, then it will try to become the absolute state, and then the rights of the minority people are largely at stake. We observe this in some of the theocratic state. What is happening to Rohingya minority? What is happening to Tamilian minority? What is happening to, let's say, Hindu and Sikh minority in Pakistan, right? So this is the situation of the theocratic state. That's why it is not good for India. Again, so the such kind of analysis or arguments you should know about this. Okay, so as India as a nation can survive only as a secular state, where the state has no religion and does not promote any religion. हम क्या बोलते हैं कि promote equally all religion. ऐसे हम interpret करते हैं secularism को. And that is the right interpretation. Try to understand. But because of that interpretation, what happens is some of the, let's say, government's actions result into discrimination also. Okay. And because of that, let's say one should understand, if suppose, let's say, if we are to have secular state, then we should have, the state has no religion and does not promote any religion. Such kind of principle. Okay. But yes, such kind of essay topic, threats to Indian secularism, or in GS1 paper, there can be question related to this topic, secularism or communalism. Okay? Yes. Now, in the middle, India's role in Ukraine-Russia conflict. Okay. Now, recently there has been visits of dignitaries from the Western countries. Okay, like US Deputy NSA or UK representatives from UK, Germany, Commonwealth. So they visited India and they had some kind of message to India, three-pronged message to India. First, related to change their India's stand in UN bodies. At present, we were abstaining from any kind of voting in the resolutions against Russia. Okay, be it in UNSC, UNGA or Human Rights Council. So, first thing. Second thing is related to, let's say, oil trade. Continuing or increasing oil trade. Even though Russia is providing at subsidized rate, so they are saying that you don't buy oil from Russia. Okay, and third aspect is related to sanctions. Okay, so they are asking us to align with the sanctions of the Western countries, and that's why I don't have trade with Russia, especially in rupee-ruble bilateral trade system. This is how the three-pronged message is given by these Western allies, representatives of Western allies. Now, what is India's official stand and reply to them? Okay, पहले तो हमारे let's say representatives ने या government ने क्या किया है कि yes, we listened to them carefully. Okay, and we did not give any strong reply to them, because later on we hosted the Russian foreign minister also, and there also we did not give any strong, let's say, stand up till now, whether we are going to have bilateral trade with Russia or import. So at present we are maintaining neutral stand. be it on international platform or with this, let's say, the reply to them is focused on, we can say, principles of strategic autonomy. So we are focusing on our national interest. So we said that whatever the decision we will take, it will be based on our national interest or strategic autonomy. That is what we are maintaining here. Second thing is that we are emphasizing on, let's say, shunning the violence. Same thing we have discussed earlier also. We are focusing on shunning the violence and let's say asking them to return on negotiating table so that peace is established, and the human rights violations or whatever the, let's say, the deaths of the people are happening there, so that will be stopped. Okay, yes. And then fourth one should understand that whatever the decision will be taken, that will be based on national interest. Especially at present we are focusing on economic interest. Okay, yes. So this is the situation that we are. Yes, Sai Prashant, I will address to your query here. Okay, first we will complete this topic. Yes, so this is the reply given by India, and at present we are not, let's say, having the clear stand aligned with any of the bloc. We are having the neutral stand. It is likely that US will make another attempt to change India's stand during the next 2+2 meeting that is going to happen in Washington. Okay, so our external affairs minister and defense minister, 2+2, external affairs minister or foreign minister and defense minister, together they will sit every year. This 2+2 meeting happens with important countries like let's say US, Japan, Australia. We are having 2+2 meeting. Also, US and its allies, European Union allies, they are focusing on increasing the sanctions on Russia, because the existing sanctions are not stopping Russia from the, let's say, coming to the negotiating table. Okay. Although Russia is facing the heat, but it is not stopping the war. Okay. So there may be further sanctions, such as, for example, let's say the US is considering removing Russia from G20. Okay, ये भी propose करने वाला है US, या फिर Human Rights Council also, UNHRC. Okay, so in future we can expect such kind of further action. So in analysis, what we should know? In analysis, we should know that India has to balance both. India has to balance both, because both are important for us. We have discussed this: defense trade with US, European Union, investment in India, that is very important for our economic growth. Geopolitically they are important. US-China war चल रहा है. Indo-Pacific is very important. India being the member of Quad. Russia is important for defense perspective. Traditional all-weather friend हम बोलते हैं उसको. Defense partnership very important. Okay, so that's why we cannot, let's say, stop relations with Russia also. We cannot openly criticize Russia also. And that's why whatever the decision is taken, we should be very much aware about the repercussions. तो long term हमारा जो foreign policy planning होना चाहिए इसके लिए, जो भी decision हम लेंगे. Because if we are taking any stand, the one particular group or the country is going to be not happy. So that from analysis perspective. Second thing, one should understand that whatever the decision is being taken, so India should be flexible in its stand. See, जब PSIR के स्टूडेंट्स को पता होगा, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस आर कंटिन्यूसली चेंजिंग, है ना. सो नो कंट्री इज परमानेंट फ्रेंड और परमानेंट, लेट्स से व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज परमानेंट एनिमीज, है ना. यस देयर इज ऑलवेज परमानेंट इंटरेस्ट, ठीक है। तो हमेशा इंटरेस्ट और नेशनल इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से हम चेंज होते रहते हैं, एनिमी हो या जो फ्रेंडली नेशन हो। सो दैट्स व्हाई वी शुड बी फ्लेक्सिबल टू चेंज आवर स्टैंड according to how the, let's say, developments will unfold in near future. Okay, India should be keeping an eye on the developments. Okay, so eyes should be open, ears should be open, that what the, let's say, western countries are saying, what Russia is saying, their views open रखना है, ठीक है, and mind को भी open रखना है, so that we are able to take the right decision, ठीक है। तो ऐसे हम वर्डिंग्स में वे फॉरवर्ड लिख सकते हैं। फाइन, ओके। सो यस, व्हाट इज योर क्वेरी? इसरो पीपल गो टू द टेम्पल बिफोर रॉकेट लॉन्च, नॉट टू चर्च और मॉस्क। yes, good point you are making here. See, that is, we can say, the tradition that they have. Let me also tell you that it is not always, let's say, a kind of that government agencies or something like that they are doing. You should know the other examples also. See, this is limited information that you are. If you talk about Mumbai police, ठीक है, तो मुंबई पुलिस जो है, they always visit a particular dargah before taking a main, let's say, every year they visit dargah and they, you know, offer the chadar there, जो होता है ना कि एक ट्रेडिशनल उनका एक क्या हुआ, एक सेरेमनी बना हुआ है। तो दैट डज नॉट मीन कि वो मतलब हिंदू टेम्पल को ही विजिट कर रहे हैं या मुस्लिम टेम्पल को ही विजिट कर रहे हैं। ओके, ऑल्दो इट शुड नॉट बी डन, ठीक है, जैसे इसरो का जो बोल रहे हैं अब, ठीक है, सो इट शुड नॉट बी डन, इट गिव्स द रॉन्ग मैसेज, ठीक है, बट इट इज नॉट ऑलवेज ट्रू। यू शुड नो दैट डिफरेंट बटालियंस ऑफ आर्म फोर्सेस, ओके, तो उनके अलग अलग मतलब गॉड्स के लिए वो प्रे करते हैं, कभी देवी को करते हैं, कोई कभी मतलब भगवान महादेव को करते हैं। तो दे हैव देयर, लेट्स से, काइंड ऑफ, लेट्स से, मोटिवेशन, दे आर डिराइविंग मोटिवेशन फ्रॉम दैट। ओके, इट इज नॉट ओनली द क्वेश्चन ऑफ रिलीजन। ओके, दे बिलीव इन लक, they believe in, let's say, God will, let's say, what you can say, provide some kind of luck to them, their, let's say, projects or their actions, ठीक है, तो वो है। बट इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज ट्रू कि सारा गवर्नमेंट का एजेंसी जो है सिर्फ हिंदू रिलीजन को ही फॉलो करता है, ठीक है। तो yes, those practices are there, and yes, they have not been questioned up till now. Okay, they have not been questioned up till now. But if suppose largely, let's say such kind of institutions are dependent on decision making, ठीक है, कि मतलब भगवान के रिलीजियस लीडर के व्यूज के ऊपर डिसीजन ले रहे हैं, तो दैट बिकम्स रॉन्ग ना, ठीक है। या फिर मतलब एक ब्लाइंड बिलीफ होता है ना कि नहीं इस दिन लॉन्च नहीं करना चाहिए क्योंकि वो भगवान का कुछ है या अमावस की रात है। अगर इसरो साइंटिस्ट ऐसे सोचने लगे तो दैट इज रॉन्ग। ओके, सो यस, फेथ इज गुड थिंग ऑलवेज, बट ब्लाइंड फेथ इज ऑलवेज रॉन्ग। वी लर्न दिस इन एथिक्स, ठीक है। ओके, सो आई गेस यू हैव, लेट्स से, इट इज क्लियर नाउ। प्रोटेक्ट एसेट्स ऑफ कोविड orphans, Supreme Court. Okay, yesterday itself we were talking about this. This is now the important issue related to the children which were orphaned during pandemic time. Okay, so this is becoming the problem. Why? Because many of the financial institutions, banks, they are sending notices to the houses of these children, as let's say the repayment of the loans may not have happened. ठीक है, उनके पेरेंट्स से कुछ लोन लिया होगा घर खरीदने के लिए, प्रॉपर्टी खरीदने के लिए, बट वो रीपे नहीं कर पा रहे। सो ऑफ कोर्स दिस फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस विल लुक इनटू देयर प्रॉफिट्स, दे आर नॉट बिकमिंग, लेट्स से, एम्पैथेटिक, कंपैशनेट towards these children. And now the NCPCR, National Commission on Protection of Child Rights, they have taken the proactive action, and they have, along with, let's say, Supreme Court, amicus curiae in the Supreme Court, together they are looking into this issue, and Supreme Court has directed district magistrates now. Okay, so yes, directed district magistrates of districts and child welfare authorities to ensure that properties and assets of children orphaned by the pandemic are protected. Okay, so that means here there will be some actions. Okay, why this direction is given, we will talk about that. Also, the judges have asked the officials to take help of district legal service authorities in district concerned to provide legal aid to such district children. ठीक है, लीगल एड के लिए तो हमें पता है कि लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटीज जो है कौन से एक्ट के अंडर होते हैं? Yes, National Legal or Legal Services Authorities Act is there 1987, which seeks to implement which DPSP? Yes, 39A है ना, फ्री लीगल एड जो है, फ्री लीगल एड. ओके, टू प्रोवाइड फ्री लीगल एड, वी हैव टू कंफर्म दिस. 39A या 43A दोनों में से एक है, ठीक है, बट आई गेस 39A ही है. Okay, so that is let's say being implemented by enacting this law. Okay, so this provides free legal aid now. These authorities will provide free legal aid to children, orphan. Okay, so many of these children have parents who died suddenly, leaving unfinished debts, mortgages and other financial commitments. NCPCR along with court have highlighted how banks may try to recover from the property left behind by the parents, leaving the children stranded without any economic support for continuing their education and for their basic needs. So they are of the view that existing assets will help these children to continue their education and it will be a very important economic support for their life. तो उनको प्रोटेक्ट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Okay, so equally important fact that many of these children may have assets or property which would become vital source of income to help them become financially independent and look after their education and needs. Okay, so that's why they are looking into this. NCPCR had also said that district magistrates could also see if the deceased parents had left behind any property and ensure that the property rights of the children are protected. Okay. Now, bill in Lok Sabha to ban weapons of mass destruction funding. So this is the amendment bill to the existing bill. Existing bill is weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system, prohibition of unlawful activities. Okay, 2005. The amendment is to this particular act. Okay, so it also fulfills India's international obligations pertaining to weapons of mass destruction. Now, what are the provisions? The new section 12A is being added to existing law, which states that no person shall finance any activity which is prohibited under this act or under the United Nations Security Council Act 1947 or any other relevant act for the time being in force. Okay, the bill would give the government powers to freeze, seize or attach funds or financial assets or economic resources owned or controlled wholly or jointly or directly or indirectly by such person. ठीक है, तो this is the provision added through this amendment bill. Now next, Indian Antarctic Bill, its various provisions. Okay, so what are the provisions of this bill? Quickly we'll go through it. Yes, so what does the Antarctic Bill envisage? Yes, regulating the visits, activities to the Antarctic as well as the potential disputes that may arise among those present on the continent. It also prescribes the penal provisions for certain serious violations. Penalty will be also there. Okay, if bill were to become law, private tours and expeditions to Antarctica would be prohibited without the permit and the written authorization by the member country. Okay, so these are the provisions basically that needs to be enacted according to the Antarctic Treaty of 1959, which let's say India joined this treaty system in 1983. At present, there are 54 signatories to this Antarctic Treaty. We will talk about that treaty, details of treaty. The bill also lays out structure for the government officials to inspect a vessel and conduct checks of research facilities. It directs the creation of fund called as Antarctic Fund that will be used for protecting Antarctic environment. Then we know that following its first expedition to Antarctica in 1982, क्या था ये, दक्षिण गंगोत्री, ठीक है, पहला वाला, but now it is ended, it is replaced by Bharti and later latest let's say new station by Maitri. So at present there are two, Bharti and Maitri in Antarctic. Okay, both of these places are permanently manned by the researchers from India. The bill also establishes Committee on Antarctic Governance and Environmental Protection. Separate committee will be established. The bill prohibits specifically the mining, dredging and activities that threaten the pristine conditions of the environment. So it is for environment protection also. It bans any person, vessel or aircraft from disposing waste in Antarctic and bars testing of nuclear devices. Basically, this is the objective of Antarctic Treaty itself and other treaties related to Antarctic marine life, or let's say the life on Antarctic continent. Why was this bill necessary? India was party to Antarctic Treaty. It became party to Antarctic Treaty in 1983, which obliged it to specify the set of laws governing portions of continent where it had its research base. तो ये अब तक हमने नहीं किया था, right? Second thing, India is also signatory to treaties such as Convention on Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources and Protocol on Environment Protection to Antarctic Treaty. They provide for protecting life there on Antarctic. ठीक है, तो इसलिए हमने ये implement किया है. Now, what is the history of Antarctic Treaty? It was, let's say, signed in 1959 and came into force in 1961 after ratification by 12 countries. Okay, at present there are 54 signatories, out of which 29 have consultative status that give them voting rights. Also, the treaty covers area south of 60° south latitude. You should know that latitude. So, it not only covers the continent but also surrounding Antarctic Ocean, या Antarctic Sea जिसको बोलते हैं, adjoining sea. So the whatever the area, marine area or ocean as well as land area, Antarctic is continent, so that is covered by this treaty. Also, its key objectives include demilitarizing Antarctica, to establish a zone free of nuclear tests and disposal of radioactive waste, and to ensure that it is used for peaceful purposes only. ठीक है, यहाँ पे किसी भी तरीके का जो डिस्प्यूट है, टेरिटोरियल डिस्प्यूट होना नहीं चाहिए. देन टू प्रमोट इंटरनेशनल साइंटिफिक कोऑपरेशन इन अंटार्कटिक. ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट रिसर्च इंडिया डज, इंडिया कंडक्ट इन अंटार्कटिक. So up till now, let's say India organized 37 such expeditions, and the major thrust area is Indian Antarctic Program, the climate processes and links to climate change, then environmental processes and conservation, and polar technology. This is the focus area. Fine. ISRO to send team to probe objects that fell from the sky. So there are, let's say, some news from Chandrapur district of Maharashtra that some people found the foreign objects or extracelestial objects, and the district magistrate of that district has requested the ISRO team to visit there. ठीक है, तो वो visit होने वाला है, and we'll find out that the space debris or remnants of satellite, rockets and other objects in space, let's say, crashing into Earth are common occurrences, but it is relatively rare for such objects to fall on the land. We know that our external, let's say, whatever the atmosphere is, that it is highly dense near the ground. Okay, and therefore all these, let's say, extraterrestrial objects or the satellite parts or the rockets, they face extreme, we can say, friction. Okay, and because of that friction, they burn out. Okay, they burn out largely, and very rarely they reach on the Earth's surface. ठीक है? Yes. What should be answer to this? Yes, online students, you also solve this question. Yes. So consider the following statement about Antarctic Treaty. We have to find the correct statements here, right? So it was signed in 1959 and came into force in 1961. This is correct statement. Then India is the foundation member of this treaty. See, foundation member यानी कि क्या है, जब वो एक्चुअल में क्या हुआ था, जब साइन होके इम्प्लीमेंट हुआ था. सो इंडिया इज द फाउंडेशन मेंबर. जैसे इंडिया इज द फाउंडेशन मेंबर ऑफ यूएन. ओके, so for this treaty India is not the foundation member. India joined later in 1983. Okay, so one should know about that. So this is incorrect statement. The treaty covers area south of 60 degrees south latitude. There can be jumbling or about this particular, this south 60 degree or 70 degree. Exactly you should know that it is 60 degrees. Then yes, this is correct. It is one of the objective, its one of the objective is to create a nuclear test free zone. This is correct, right? So that's why the answer should be 1, 3 and 4. So that's why C is the correct answer. Yes, correct. So yes, online students, they have also given the answer. C is the correct answer. Fine. Okay. Any question?
So that is 39A only.
Huh?
DPSP is 39A.
39A, no? Yes, free legal aid. That was added through which fund, amendment?
Amendment and what? Indira Gandhi.
42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay? Yes. Fine. So, okay, let us stop then.